Welcome to Wrestlemania.
Ooh, yeah! I am the game! Woo!
Yes! I will give you a show like you have never, ever seen before. Why? Because I
the best there is, the best there was, and the best that there ever will be.
You will rest in peace. And what you're gonna do when the whole world falls? I mean, destroy
and that's
you.
the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold says it.
Hello all, and welcome to another edition of your boy Deluxe Man's WrestleMania Review Series, where I review every single WrestleMania leading up to WrestleMania 33. Today's entry, WrestleMania 2. This is coming off the heels of a very successful WrestleMania 1, where the WWF did everything in their power to make sure this one was bigger and better than the first one. Did they succeed? I'm gonna say they didn't. This was not the WWF's best foot forward. With that said, a lot of you told me going into the show it was one of the worst WrestleManias of all time. It's absolute crap. It's an embarrassment on the wrestling business. It's a black mark on the WWF. I don't think it was that bad. I think a lot of you are giving it crap because of one match, Mr. T and Piper. Again, that's the infamous -5 stars from Dave Meltzer. And I get why he gave it -5 stars. With that said, there was a lot of good wrestling on here. There were times where I just kind of felt like this show isn't that bad. I was entertained. I don't think it was one of the worst WrestleManias. I've seen worse. Now, there was a string of matches in here that were just brutal. I'll give you that. And you know what string of matches I'm talking about. Those of you who've seen WrestleMania 2, you know exactly which matches I'm talking about. Oh my God, they were bad. And a lot of the problems that I had with WrestleMania 2 had very little to do with the wrestling quality. But let's get into it with some details. The runtime for the show was 3 hours. This is an hour longer than WrestleMania 1. This show was held on a Monday. It was held on April 7th, 1986. I don't know why it was held on a Monday. Does anybody else know why? Again, I wasn't born in 1986. I was born in the 90s. So knowing that this was on a Monday, I was kind of put off by that. So I'm thinking maybe that Sunday on the 6th, something important was happening. Because otherwise, why would you have this show on a weekday? Why not have it on a Sunday? Maybe it was just because Vince McMahon wanted to try something different. Roll that dice one more time. The venue, well, I wouldn't even say the venue. I would say the venues. This WrestleMania is known for having 3 different shows at the exact same time happen all at once. Now, it's nothing out of the ordinary because Starrcade did that too. Starrcade had 2 events happening at the same time, and that was run by the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, baby. And maybe Vince McMahon thought, well, Dusty, excuse me, let me get that right. Well, Dusty, if you feel you can do 2 events, I can do 3 events. And he tried. I respect the balls on Vince McMahon, but I don't think it was a good idea. And it didn't pan out very well. There were a lot of production issues. During matches, we would have random people talking from different venues. It just was very off-putting. A lot of sound issues. People looking lost. Like, oh my God, what do I do now? What do I do now? That's the trouble of having 3 different shows happen at the exact same time. Again, I respect what he tried to do. I know he tried to make it feel bigger and better than the first one. It was just not good. It just did not work out very well. I'm pretty sure he tried to pull his hair out during that time. Also, we had a lot of commentary celebrities on here. We had Susan St. James, who a lot of you didn't like. I wasn't bothered by her. When she was working with Vince McMahon, and I think that was the New York portion of the show, I wasn't bothered by her. I don't think she hurt the show. Yes, she wasn't really commentating on the matches, but again, she's a celebrity. She's not a wrestling commentator. You can hate on WWE. You can give all the crap to WWF for even making her a commentator. That I will give you. But for what she was and what she didn't hurt the show. She was more of a reactor. She had some good reactions. Oh no, he's a jerk. Watch out! Look out behind you! Come on, you can do it. That's the kind of commentator she was. And it didn't hurt the show. You know, Crosby was a little better, but again, reactor. Elvira, during the last hour, you know, again, she wasn't bad either. It was just, I knew what I was getting the moment I saw them. They were reactors. They were not commentators. They wasn't Gorilla Monsoon or Jerry the King Lawler or Jesse Ventura, because they're not wrestlers. So to expect wrestling commentary from people who aren't wrestlers is ridiculous. That's all I'm going to say about that. We opened up with the national anthem sung by Ray Charles. Thank you for getting an actual pop sensation, or a legend in this case, to sing the national anthem. And he did a good job, a great rendition of the national anthem. This might be my favorite one, because I haven't really heard the other ones yet. So I have to hear Aretha Franklin's, who I think is next. She's going to be nice. I think she's next. Other than her, I don't think there are any other renditions that were better than this. This was a really good rendition of the national anthem by Ray Charles. We get into the first hour, which was held in New York. I think it was Uniondale. Uniondale, New York. Yeah. And we opened up with a stinker. Let's be real, it was a stinker. The magnificent Don Morocco, who is known for being splashed by Jimmy Superfly Snuka. You know, that infamous dive off the cage. The guy that took that splash was Don Morocco. That's what he's known for. But the Magnificent One took on Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, who was a babyface this time. He was a heel last year, but he's a face this time. This match was bad. It ended in a double countout, no contest. The crowd was pissed. They were chanting bullshit. When you have a crowd during this time in wrestling, this era in wrestling, chanting bullshit, it was bad. This was a bad match. It was bad for me, especially knowing the people in it. This should have been a good match. It wasn't. I don't know why they decided to open up with a double countout finish. That was dumb all around. Luckily for me, the next match was good. The next match was for the WWF Intercontinental Championship. The Macho Man Randy Savage, ooh yeah, with Elizabeth, taking on George the Animal Steele. Again, these two recently passed away, so rest in peace, by the way. It was good seeing them. They were just doing their thing, and it was fun. A fun, solid match. George doing the animal stuff, tearing up the turnbuckles, biting Savage. And then Savage using the ropes to beat him because he was a heel. That was good stuff. I liked it. I liked that match very much. I even liked the next match. The Jake the Snake Roberts versus George Wells match, which I know nothing about George Wells. He was a pretty solid worker. And Jake the Snake Roberts, man, to see him sell as well as he did in this match makes me appreciate the worker he was. He was a really good performer. And a lot of people just know him for the snake, which is just, you know, that added spice on top of it. The snake was great. The gimmick was awesome. His promos are legendary. But he was good inside the ring. Really good performer all around. And, of course, he beats George Wells with the DDT, before everybody started using it. And then after the match, we have a Wrestlemania moment. So he wrapped the snake around George Wells, and then you see foam coming out of his mouth, and he sold it like a pro, because we were supposed to pretend that the snake was choking him. So he had the foam come out of his mouth, and it was crazy. It was horrific, actually. Then we get to the main event portion of this hour. Mr. T versus Roddy Piper in a boxing match. We had people like Jonah Rivers being the special guest ring announcer. G. Gordy Liddy, who, those of you who don't know who that is, he helped out Nixon during the Watergate scandal. He was Nixon's lawyer during the actual scandal, so I don't even know why they brought him on here. Celebrity, I get that, but that was not a celebrity you want. But you had all these celebrities hyping it up. You had Smoking Joe Frazier in the corner of Mr. T. And I don't know who was helping out Piper, but a lot of hype for this match. Man, it was bad. This is the infamous minus 5-star match. I understand why Dave Meltzer gave it the 5 stars. At the exact same time, I don't think it was that bad. Piper did everything in his power. Everything in his power to make this work. But I'm sorry, when you're throwing phantom punches that aren't even hitting you and you have to sell for it, it looks fake. It's not good. Remember, this is during a time where fans still thought wrestling was real. This is not the kind of match you want. This is not nowadays where everybody knows wrestling is fake. This is during a time where fans kind of knew wrestling wasn't real, but was entertained by it. But a lot of the people who were watching thought it was real. When they saw those fake punches flying and then Piper having to oversell to make it look good, it was not a great sight. Piper threw a chair in this match because he was mad at Mr. T for not actually hitting him. He was trying to protect the business. And then to make matters worse, it ends in a DQ. Piper picks up and slams Mr. T and disqualifies himself. So, it was not a good match at all. Mr. T looked bad. Yeah, Mr. T did not look good at all because he looked good at WrestleMania 1. It was just not good. Again, respect to Piper for trying to make this work. And for that, I can't give it a low grade. It's still a bad match and the worst match on this show. Absolutely. Jesus, that was rough. But then the hits keep on coming. No pun intended. We start the second hour in Chicago with the WWF Women's Championship. Oh, God. Fabulous Moolah versus some chick named Velvet McIntyre. And I'm pretty sure she's not related to Drew McIntyre. But, yeah, it was a bad match. When your match goes under a minute, and you have one of your female wrestlers lose after she missed a crossbody off the top rope, it doesn't get any worse than that. Seriously, Velvet missed a flying crossbody, and then Fabulous Moolah pinned her. I can understand why people back in the day weren't very fond of women's wrestling, because this was not the best match to make them look good. And then we go into the flag match, which, that was okay. I appreciate what it did for the crowd. The crowd loved it. I think it was Nikolai Volkoff who represented the Soviet Union. And yes, he did the national anthem, which got a lot of heat. And then he took on some guy named Corporal Kushner, who was representing America. And then America won, and the crowd was happy. I don't think I've ever seen him. I've never seen Corporal Kushner at all. So, yeah, whatever. America won. But, oh, Jesus. I'm happy it was short. The 20-man Battle Royal. And this is known for having a lot of NFL players in it. I don't know all the people in it. I just know about one person. Refrigerator. William Perry. That's the only person I know about because he's in the Hall of Fame. Everybody else, not so much. I didn't really know much about football back in the day. I kind of started getting into it literally about 5 years ago. There were a lot of wrestlers here. Big John Studd, Andre the Giant. You had Bruno Sammartino in this Battle Royal too. So it was a lot of big names to make it at least feel like a legit Battle Royal. It came down to Bret Hart, Jimmy Anvil Neidhart, and Andre the Giant. And of course, who would win than the king of Battle Royals himself, Andre the Giant. Basically an okay Battle Royal. I will say the moment with the refrigerator where he took out Big John Studd, that was cool. That was a nice little moment, and it was nice to see him get a rock star reception in Chicago because, again, he was one of the best players on the Chicago Bears team, and it made sense to actually have him featured in this match. Brilliant, even. I'll even say it was a genius move because the crowd loved him. The crowd was all over Big John Studd when he got rid of William Perry, and then to see William get his revenge and pull him out of the ring. That was a cool moment. I actually liked that. So, his involvement is one of those involvements where I actually like when celebrities get involved. I think that was... No, it wasn't the main event, because the main event was the Tag Team Championship match, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was the Tag Team Championship match involving Brutus Beefcake, again, pre-The Barber, and Greg the Hammer Valentine, who were known as the Dream Team. They took on the British Bulldogs, Dynamite Kid, and Davey Boy Smith. And it was a good match. I dare say it was match of the night. It was a really good classic tag team match. I really liked the finish. The finish was very unique and different because you saw Greg the Hammer Valentine getting ready to throw Davey Boy Smith into the corner. You see Greg the Hammer Valentine get shoved head first into the Dynamite Kid's head. And he's busted open, but it knocks Greg the Hammer Valentine out, and he pins him 1, 2, 3. I thought that was unique. I've never seen that before, and I liked it. I need more unique finishes like that. I can't stand it where we have every match in the exact same ways. Can we get some unique, never seen before finishes before? Be creative. The British Bulldogs become the new tag team champions. Big moment for them in WrestleMania. I like it. Now, if I'm not mistaken, neither one of these guys are in the Hall of Fame. I know Greg is. Greg the Hammer Valentine is a Hall of Famer. But I know for sure the British Bulldogs are not. Davey Boy Smith and the Dynamite Kid are not in the Hall of Fame. And they should be. They should be in the Hall of Fame. Especially after this moment. Come on now. I think after that we go into Los Angeles. This is the last hour. We kick things off with a good match. Thank you. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Hercules. Or Hercules Hernandez. And again, very fun, very solid match. Ricky is just an amazing performer. It's just fun to see him go in there and just tear it up inside that ring. He is just a really good wrestler. I might need to go and watch those Ric Flair and Steamboat matches, because people tell me they are 5-star matches. Yeah, I might need to go ahead and turn on some WCW and watch those matches. But he was good in this match. This next match, though. What the flying freak was this match? Some guy named Adorable Adrian Adonis with Jimmy Hart, the Mouth of the South, taking on some Uncle Elmer? It was a bad match. It was so awkward and so sloppy. It was hard to watch. I was like, please be done. Please be done. Please be over with soon. And it was. I think Adonis won with some flying splash off the top rope. So it was, oh my God, it was so bad. It was so bad. I'm not going to say anything else about it. Let's get on to something I actually liked. I think next was the tag team between the Funk brothers. Yeah, Terry Funk and Haas Funk, or Dory Funk Jr., with Jimmy Hart yet again taking on Tito Santana Arriba and Junkyard Dog. I actually enjoyed this match. The Funk brothers were just fun to watch. Everybody in this match was fun to watch, but I really like seeing Terry Funk go out there and just bump his ass off to make the other team look good. Seriously, it was just a fun match all around. And the Funk brothers win with the use of Hart's megaphone, basically. Classic heel move. No harm done. Then we get to the main event of the evening. The big main event. We have some packages of Hulk Hogan being injured by King Kong Bundy previous to the show. And then there's this awesome, really cool promo where you see him training, injured. You have the doctors telling him, no, Hogan, you can't do this. You're going to end your career. Well, you know something, brother. I have the heart of a champion, and I'm going to go out there and defeat King Kong Bundy for all my Hulkamanias. And what you gonna do, brother? I gotta say, man, I know people give Hulk Hogan flack for his wrestling ability, but Hogan was never really trying to be a wrestler. Let's be real. Let's call it like it is. Yes, he was America's greatest athlete, apparently, professional athlete, but I gotta be real with you. He's not someone you should watch for wrestling. He's a character. A lot of his matches, if not all of his matches, are character driven. He's a superhero. He's that kind of person that goes in there, eat your vitamins, say your prayers, and then you have this evil person who wants to destroy the world. I came to conquer the world. In this case, it was King Kong Bundy, who was, again, undefeated at this point. I think he did the 9-second match at WrestleMania 1. Yeah, that 9-second match. This led to him fighting Hogan. And it was in a cage match. And it was a solid match. I thought it was decent overall. Again, if you look at it for what it is, it's a character match. It's not a catch-as-catch-can wrestling classic. No. It's not going to be that. His matches are never going to be that. Admire it for what it is. A character-driven match. You see Hogan in there selling the ribs that were broken by King Kong Bundy. And then you also see some blood from King Kong Bundy after he gets thrown into the cage. Cool! I like that we had blood. It really added to the feud. And this was during a time where blood was typical. It was natural to see blood in these matches. And I guess for me, it was refreshing because we don't see blood nowadays unless it happens by accident. But to see him blade in the match and to see Hogan just tear into him and do the Hulk up, brother, you brother, leg drop, exits the ring, win the match, the crowd goes crazy, and then he beats up Bobby the Brain Heenan afterwards, which is always great. I love seeing Bobby the Brain Heenan sell. He is one of the funniest sellers in the entire wrestling business, but it was good. It was good seeing Hogan do his thing, to see what kind of a superstar and what a role model he was. He transcended wrestling. You hear me? Now, we see this nowadays with people like Roman Reigns and John Cena. It doesn't work nowadays because back then people thought wrestling was real. Remember, that was during a time when people still thought wrestling was real. People know wrestling's fake. Even the kids know wrestling is fake. So to have that kind of character nowadays isn't going to work, and it really shouldn't be done anymore. But back then, you can respect what Hulk Hogan was doing. And I thought the main event was pretty fun. So again, it was an okay show. I didn't hate WrestleMania 2. It wasn't the best show to sit through. I am going to give it a lower grade than WrestleMania 1, C-. But in terms of, again, historical importance, there were some good matches on here. It was a big lesson for Vince McMahon, which he learned very quickly. Don't always roll the dice, because sometimes you will not reap the rewards. I respect what he tried to do. Let's make sure he doesn't do it again. Now, next year's WrestleMania 3, which is being heralded as the greatest WrestleMania of all time. And that is my next review. If you enjoyed this review, like the video, comment, and share. But as always, like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, check out everything down below in the description box. Thank you so much for tuning in to WrestleMania 2. Tomorrow, I will do WrestleMania 3, and I'm hoping that you guys will love that review. This is your boy, Alyx Man, signing off in Alyx Man's World.